The Saudi crown prince attends a ceremony at the Al-Hadid church in Egypt, and what happens next leaves the entire congregation stunned. The streets of Cairo were vibrant that evening, bustling with activity as the golden light of the setting sun painted the city's historic architecture in hues of amber and rose. Amid the city's clamour stood the Al-Hadid Church, a centuries-old structure cherished by Egypt's Coptic Christian community. Its iron-bound doors, worn smooth by generations of hands, had witnessed history in silence. Families gathered in the courtyard before the service, children's laughter echoing off the stone walls as they played beneath the shadow of the church's iconic bell tower. Inside, priests prepared for the evening service, arranging candles and hymnals, unaware that the pews would soon witness something extraordinary. Among the worshippers filing in that evening, one figure stood out, not just for who he was, but for what he represented. Unbeknownst to many, Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman had arrived in Cairo earlier that day. He was in Egypt for 3 days to strengthen ties between Saudi Arabia and Egypt's Coptic community. Though official, his visit to Al-Hadid Church was kept deliberately discreet. Even his closest aides were unaware of the visit's true purpose until the last moment. For the Crown Prince, this was a deeply personal journey, born of months of reflection and inner struggles. As his SUV halted outside the church, he hesitated briefly before stepping out and walking toward the iron doors, flanked by only 2 discreet aides. Inside, the service was underway, the warm glow of candlelight dancing across ancient walls as the priest's voice carried the weight of tradition, leading the congregation through hymns sung for centuries. For those in attendance, it was a moment of peace, a reprieve from the world's worries. Then the wooden doors at the back of the church creaked open. The sound, though soft, drew attention in the hushed stillness. Heads turned, some with mild irritation at the interruption, others with curiosity. When the figure in the doorway became visible, the atmosphere shifted. At first, few recognized him. Dressed in a simple white thobe and a black bish draped over his shoulders, he appeared unassuming. But as his face became clear under the chandelier's light, murmurs rippled through the congregation. A tall, commanding figure with an air of authority stood before them, Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. It was a moment no one expected. In this quiet corner of Cairo, a leader from a nation where churches are rare had entered a Christian place of worship. People exchanged glances, whispers growing despite the solemn setting. Why was he here? Was it diplomacy, solidarity, or something else entirely? The Crown Prince appeared unaffected by the attention. Calm and composed, he walked quietly to an empty seat near the back of the church. Without entourage or fanfare, he blended into the congregation as though he belonged. Father Youssef, the church's elderly priest, paused mid-sentence, briefly taken aback before warmly welcoming the prince. MBS inclined his head in acknowledgement and took his seat. The service resumed, but the atmosphere had changed. A quiet, electric energy filled the space. For most of the congregation, his presence was a mystery. They saw a royal, a symbol of power, but few understood the personal journey that had brought him here. In recent months, rumors about MBS's health had surfaced, as his public appearances grew infrequent. Those closest to him knew the truth. He had been grappling with a significant health challenge, one that tested both his body and spirit. The journey had been humbling, forcing him to reflect deeply and seek strength beyond himself. Over time, this inward journey led him to explore faith, resilience, and purpose. He sought answers in unexpected places, reading, speaking with spiritual leaders, and ultimately deciding to visit the Al-Hadid Church. This visit wasn't about politics or optics. For MBS, it was a personal quest, a moment to connect with something greater than himself. As the service neared its end, Father Youssef invited reflections from the congregation. When MBS rose and approached the front, the room fell silent. His voice steady, he spoke of his search for meaning and the strength he found in faith during his weakest moments. The congregation was moved. A young boy, overwhelmed, watched the Crown Prince in awe. As MBS finished speaking, a hymn began softly, led by a single voice, and soon the entire congregation joined in. The spontaneous harmony created an unforgettable moment. When the service ended, a young boy approached MBS with white flowers. "These are for you," the boy said. MBS accepted them with a warm smile, replying softly, "Thank you, but you, young one, are the brave one here." Although the event didn't make global headlines, those who witnessed it would never forget.